Hello, I am Team 39th Rhapsody's Tanishu, and today I will be showing you my Youthberk Set 7 deck profile. With the introduction of Set 7, we have Tempest and Gust as our two main Revolve forms that we want to go into, along with the addition of new grade 1s to help out for discard cost and gaining drives. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the Rideline, we have the grade 0, Youth Following in Footsteps Youth. So Youth is a normal grade 0, like every other starter. When it went second, draw a card. The grade 1, Determined to Break Away Youth, is our main grade 1 Rideline that we want to play. So its main skill is when rode upon by the grade 2, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 3, choose one card with Youthberk in its card name from among them, and reveal it and put it into your hand, or you can choose up to one grade 2 or less unit card from among them and call it to rear, and then you put the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order you choose. And then during the battle when he attacked, you can also have him gain plus 2k, although it won't make much of a difference since you are swinging for 8k on an 8k, but it allows you to swing for 10k on the grade 2 10k. For our grade 2, we have Knight of Ardent Light Youth. So when rode upon by a unit with a Revolve Dress ability, meaning Youthberk Skyfall Arms, you can counterblast 1, choose a grade 2 or greater card from your drop and put it into your hand. So what this does is it allows you to discard a grade 2 or greater card that you can get back when you ride up to grade 3 for a counterblast. So usually I discard a Revolve form and then I ride onto Skyfall Arms and then can add the Revolve form back to your hand, or you could choose a grade 2, discard it and put it back to your hand. And then when he's boosted, you can Soul Blast 1, he gets plus 5k, but that won't come up too often. For our grade 3 lineup, we are running 4 of Youthberk Skyfall Arms. We are running 4, 1 part of the Rideline, 3 part of the main deck. This is because you want to go into Persona Ride as much as possible, because Youthberk really scales with the Persona Ride it gains, and its skill. Revolve Dress is an auto ability. At the end of the battle that attack, choose up to one card with a Revolve form its card name from your hand, write it as stand, and it gets drive -2. Please note that it does get drive -2, but with the introduction of Sequana and the skill of Gust, you can have it have up to 1 or 2 drives. And then second skill, Act, Vanguard Circle, once per turn. Discard a card from your hand, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Revolve form in its card name from among them, reveal it and put it into your hand, or choose up to 1 grade 2 or less card from among them and call it to rear, and put the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So his skill is similar to the grade 1. However, a big difference is that the grade 1 searches for a card with Youthberk in its card name and is for a Soul Blast, while Skyfall Arms is a discard and it searches for a unit with Revolve form. So please keep that in mind when you're searching. As for our other grade 3s, we of course are running 4 of Youthberk Tempest. This is the new Youthberk that came out in set 7. Its skill, when placed on the Vanguard Circle by Revolve Dress ability, all of your front row units get plus 5k power until the end of the turn. Then you may counterblast 1 to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards with the same grade as any of the revealed cards and put it on the bottom of the deck, and then you put all the revealed cards in your hand. And of course, like all Revolve forms, at the end of your turn, choose a card with Revolve Dress ability from your soul and write it as rest. So this card is really good because not only does it give a free plus 5k to your front row, but if you have the counterblast, you can reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, and then whatever grades you check, you can bot deck your opponent's rears. So you can say you reveal a grade 2 and grade 1, and your opponent has a grade 2 and grade 1. You can bot deck it, and then you get to add that grade 2 and grade 1 to your hand. So it's a free draw 2 without drive. As for the other, I personally play 4 Gust. Some people would choose to play 3. I choose to play 4 because it's consistent and it's easily searchable, and there will be games where you just damage check all your revolt forms, and I think having the 11 grade 3 lineup is really beneficial to this deck, although you do lose out on some shield value. So its skill, when placed on Vanguard Circle by Revolt Dress ability, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, discard a card from your hand and it gets plus 10k in a drive. And then at the end of the turn, like all other Revolt forms, choose a card with Revolt Dress ability from your soul and ride it as rest. This implying the Youthberk. So Gust is really good because he gives himself, just for a discard, which you will find with the new grade 1 Angel that discarding isn't really a problem, to get plus 10k and a drive, already putting him at 1 drive. And then if you use Sequana, so the order you want to do it is after you attack, you will use the skill to Revolt Dress. Once you Revolt Dress, you will, after being boosted by Sequana, you will activate Sequana's skill because it is 1 place on V by Revolt Dress ability. So you put her into Soul. So now your Tempest has 1 drive because it is increasing its drive to 1. Then you will activate the on place of Gust. So then you will discard 1 card, and Gust will activate his skill to get plus 10k in a drive, putting you at 2 drive with Gust, thus equalizing the -2 drive you get from using Skyfall Arms. As for your grade 2 lineup, I run 4 Schneisel. So the grade 2 lineup is really interesting because you want to have a lot of shield value, but you also want to play your good cards like Kadwala and Schneisel. So the reason we still play Schneisel is because when placed on rear counterblast, you can counterblast 1 to look at the top 5, choose a grade 3 Youthberk from among them, reveal and put into your hand, and shuffle your deck and it gets plus 5k. So not only does it make Schneisel a 15k beater, it gets you your Youthberk, which could be any of the Revolt forms or even a Skyfall Arm for a Persona Ride next turn. And then when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if your Vanguard was placed this turn from riding a grade 3, meaning if you Revolt formed, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. So this is just a little free plus 5k if you choose to swing Schneisel first and then you swing Van. Going back to what I was saying about the grade 2 lineup being very interesting, I personally play 3 Knight of Tempestuousness Vride. So Vride is good because if you have a Vanguard with Youth in its card name, this unit gets plus 5k shield, meaning when you're on grade 2 Youth, since it has Youth in its card name, it can be a nice 10k guard. 10k guards aren't something we see much of in the D series, so it's nice having them when we can. And the reason we play this over, let's say, Kadwala, which some people choose to do, is that it puts the Youthberk shield value up to 330k excluding PG's OT in the ride deck. In comparison to other meta decks, Overlord is at 320k excluding PG's OT in the ride deck. Chronojet is 335 excluding PG's OT in the ride deck. Prison is 300 excluding PG's OT in the ride deck. Eva is 305 excluding PG's OT in the ride deck. Lutetia is 300 and Nirvana is 285. So Youthberk, as you know, plays a lot of grade 3s. I personally play 11 plus the 1 in the ride deck. So that means that I'm losing out on a lot of shield value that other decks would have. And because of the D series, most of your cards are, other than triggers, are guarding for 5k. So it's important to have enough shield value for your deck to basically survive the bigger turns of these other decks. And that's why I play these 3 Vride, because 10k shields are nice and come in handy a lot. Although I personally play the 4 Schneisel and 4 Vride, I would recommend Kadwala if he suits you. I know he's a little expensive at the moment since he is only I believe 1 or 2 of in the start deck, but he is a pretty good card. And then also, although I don't have any, Maple, I believe that Maple is a really helpful card and would honestly cut 1 Vride or Schneisel for a 1 of Maple. In Japan, people are playing 2 Maple because of the Chronojet bot deck, which counters Maple's skill. But personally, I would play 1 to 2 Maple in my grade 2 lineup if I had them. Going on to the grade 1 lineup, we have 4 Sequana. So Sequana is a really good card. She is new to set 7, and her skill is during your turn, if you have Vanguard with Youthberk, not Youth, in its card name, this unit gets plus 2k, so she's a 10k booster. And then when your unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by the Revolgist ability, put this unit into Soul, choose one of your Vanguards, and increase or decrease its drive to 1 until the end of turn. So, as I showed you with Gust, and you can use this on Tempest, since Youthberk Skyfall Arms decreases your drive by 2, meaning you have 0 drive, Sequana, every time you use her, will increase your drive to 1, which means that your Gust can run 2 drive and your Tempest can run 1 drive. So this is a free drive check and a soul charge, along with being a 10k booster. So Sequana is a real must-have for the new Youthberk set 7 deck. For our other grade 1s, I play 4 Wayward Therapy Angel. So Wayward Therapy is really good. Although this card cannot be ridden and cannot be normal called to rear from hand, meaning you can call this off of Youthberk's skill from deck. And then the real skill is the auto when discarded from hand during your turn. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, Soul Blast 1 and call this unit to the back row rearguard circle. So, if you can see, Wayward Therapy Angel is a 10k grade 1, meaning it's a free 10k booster or free 10k attacker. And if you're on your Gust turn, if you discard 1 Wayward Therapy Angel, you can Soul Blast 1, which you have plenty of due to your continuous Revol forms and Sequanas, to call this unit to the back row rear, giving you a free 10k booster mid-battle phase. So Wayward Therapy is a really good card. For the rest of our grade 1s, we play the usual PG lineup. The one of Elementaria Sanctitude. So this card is getting really expensive right now. So if you haven't picked up one in a trial deck, I would recommend you do. And then your 3 of Effect PGs. So of course, Effect PGs. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it, meaning if your hand has less than 2 cards, you do not have to discard a card. And then for Elementaria Sanctitude, if your opponent's Vanguard has natural triple drive, meaning if you fight a grade 4 deck, you can PG without paying the cost of discarding 1. So this is a really good card, and please note that this card, at the end of that battle, is removed from the game, similar to an OT. For our grade 0 lineup, we are running 8 crit. This is because we want to maximize the amount of damage and power we are getting from the extra drive that Sequana gives us. And to supplement that 8 crit, we are also running 3 front, because we want to go very aggressive into this game, and due to Youthberk, you usually swing first or second during each battle phase. The front trigger really helps out with giving your rearguard that power boost they need, even if you're on a Persona Ride turn or not. Of course, we play 1 OT, because if you're not playing an OT, what are you doing? It is a free draw and heal if you damage check it, or if you drive check it. For the Heater OT, you choose 1 unit, gets the 100 million, you draw a card, remove this card from the game, and then your rearguards can perform drive checks. Once again, due to Youthberk's attack pattern, you will usually check this and have at least 1 to 2 rearguards who are drive checking that turn, making it a really lethal weapon. Of course, we are playing 4 heal triggers. You may choose to play the effect heals. I personally think the effect heals are very good, but I am more simplistic and simply play the 4 normal heals. So that is my set 7 Youthberk deck profile. My thoughts on Youthberk personally are that it is a really fun deck to play. Of course, with your restanding Vanguard now getting drive, it is even more lethal than it was before. In terms of how good it is, I believe it is a top tier deck going into set 7. However, this deck has a lot of easy counters and is not really as strong as people make it out to be, although it still is a very good deck. In terms of gaining your Revol dresses and your Revol forms, this deck, if you couldn't tell, with Schneisel, Youthberk himself, his grade 1 youth, and Tempest, you have a lot of draw power and you can easily search for everything you need. In any case, I truly do enjoy the new Youthberk deck. I think the addition of Tempest and Sequana, along with Wayward Therapy, make it a really fun deck to play. And I know it is expensive, going at Youthberk himself only $30 in the US, along with Tempest seeming to be around 30 and Gust around 20 along with Schneisel. So I would recommend, please do not irresponsibly spend your money on this deck, but if you do have the money and you do want to play this deck, it is very fun. If you're wondering how I haven't paid as much as normal people do for this deck, it's because I order splits, meaning singles, pre-release, and I try my best to find the lowest prices I can for this deck. For any cards you don't see that you would consider playing, I will leave a pinned comment in the comments section explaining why I do not play such cards, but as Vanguard is built around your personal style, if you feel that you still want to play those cards, please go ahead and don't let me stop you. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to Team 39th Rhapsody. We are hoping to bring more content into our community and apologize for the wait times in between. Goodbye.